Well, the final 53 is official for the Philadelphia Eagles. We heard from Nick Sirianni and Howie Roseman at the press conference, what they said. And as I'm going through the final 53, some other news has come out regarding certain positions, certain players. So let's get straight into it.
What's the boogeyman?
As a matter of fact, it was.
Yo, what is going on, guys? So the day is finally here, the final 53 from the Philadelphia Eagles. There's some interesting things about this roster, and obviously as it stands for the final 53 and as they kind of build up their practice squad, nothing is settled because Howie Roseman is not going to sit there. Howie Roseman is not done. We'll get into that later, but let's start off with the final 53. So to start off with the quarterbacks, you have Jalen Hurts, Tanner McKee, and Sam Howell. Now, Howie Roseman did talk about the trade for Sam Howell and said it had nothing to do with Tanner McKee. Nothing to do with his injury, whether he was injured or not. They were still going to sign him, okay? Which is telling me that they really didn't like DTR and they really didn't like Kyle McCord. And I don't know if they have to change their ways during these drafts of the 6th round. And I just guess they just didn't see enough flash from Kyle McCord to keep him on even the practice squad at this point. So I'm guessing another QB will be signed at some point to be on the practice squad. We'll see what happens. Those are your quarterbacks. Now your running backs, Barkley, Shipley, Dillon. Okay, so we knew this was going to happen. This is your three-headed monster as of right now. And trust me, I've liked Shunderick Powell. I've liked Keelan Robinson. And ultimately, I've really liked Montrell Johnson. Hopefully, a couple of those guys will make it to the practice squad. So you're pretty much set at running back. This wasn't a hard one for me. Fullback position is Ben Van Simmeren. He's pretty much been the only one competition-wise for this position since he will not be playing linebacker, and hope to see more from Ben Van Simmeren this year as a target in the passing game, or how they are planning on using him. Just got to stay healthy. Now, wide receiver, you have A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Jahan Dotson, John Mechie, and Darius Cooper. So they keep 5 receivers. Darius Cooper, the news came out right before the final 53 was officially official that he made the roster. No draft, no combine, no nothing. The Darius Cooper story has been one of the most interesting position stories we've had in a while. And if this is a position you do not need, okay, to upgrade next year and don't have to put much money into it, this might be your move for wide receiver 3 after Jahan Dotson gets big money going into 2026. And glad he's on this roster. Now, Ainias Smith is not on this list, and I would have to say he just didn't show too much as a wide receiver. Officially, he was supposed to, I guess, be our punt returner, but I guess that wasn't enough to keep him on the active roster. I'm guessing maybe he'll come back to practice squad most likely, but that last preseason game he had a couple drops. He really didn't have a stronger showing. I know that Kyle McCord had a bad day. The protection was bad, but it comes down to what these guys do on the field, and I don't think Ainias Smith really showed out that last game. Now, for your tight ends, you have Dallas Goedert, Grant Calcaterra, and Granson. I was wondering if they're going to keep 2 or 3 guys, and because Dallas Goedert necessarily doesn't stay healthy every single year, and Calcaterra has been one of the most quiet camps. I don't know what's been going on with him. And Granson as your number 3 is a guy that was pretty much the only backup that realistically was producing. So I think Granson should really be behind Dallas Goedert at this point. But let's see what Calcaterra does. Those are your tight ends. Now, offensive line, you have Mulata, Dickerson, Juergen, Steen, Lane Johnson, Fred Johnson, newly acquired, and welcome back, buddy, Matt Pryor, Kendall, Toth, Keegan Williams. Now, one name that is not on this list is Myles Hinton, the 6th-round pick out of Michigan. And he apparently is going to be on the IR, the fake IR that Howie Roseman likes to stash players. They can't afford putting Myles Hinton on the practice squad. Just like they did when they drafted Jordan Mailata. They did that a couple times, and then by, year 3, he was ready to go as the starting left tackle. Myles Hinton, I think in a couple years after Lane Johnson retires, he will be the starting right tackle to this squad. I don't necessarily think that he played well because they played him more at left tackle, which they kind of played him out of position. But if you're a backup on this team for Jeff Stoutland, you have to play more than a couple positions. And since you have Fred Johnson back, Miles Hinton in the building could be the next swing tackle for the Eagles and could be your natural starter at right tackle down the road. So don't know why they were playing him out of position where he was playing really badly. But, I guess he's learning and they want to keep him in the stash room. Now, edge rusher was an interesting one, too. So you have Nolan Smith, Jalix Hunt, Josh Uche, Ojulari, and you get to keep a fifth edge rusher in Agbo Okoronkwo. Okay, if I'm saying his name right. This is the 30-year-old veteran edge rusher we got from free agency that was available right before camp. We signed him, 3 sacks with the Browns last year. Regarding these edge rushers with Uche and Ojulari, a lot of guys didn't make noise, but I thought to myself last year, I can't put too much on it because once they start getting in games, game-like atmospheres, they're on the field, they're making plays, I think things are going to change. Talk shit about Nolan Smith last year. I talked shit about Nakobe Dean, and look how that turned out. So I think half of this camp for defensive line, they really can't go 100%. They really can't do much when they're not in full pads. And then when they get into full pads, we really want to start to see something. And some of these guys haven't really done more than what they're capable of. And that's what I'm kind of looking at with this position. We'll see what happens. Agbo makes the active roster. And you have depth there now. Now, defensive tackle, you have Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, Moro Ojobo, Ty Robinson, Gabe Hall, and Bryce Young. They keep 6 DTs just like they did last year and had this as 6 DTs on my final 53. I think they like the production of Bryce Young. They like how he's growing as a player, as well as Gabe Hall. Moro Ojomo should be stepping into that Milton Williams role as the number 3 DT. And, Ty Robinson, they're not going to give up on a guy within his first year. Let him produce, and hopefully we'll get better during the season in the rotation. A lot of pressure on Nolan Smith. A lot of pressure on Jalix Hunt from a really good back-end strong year when getting an opportunity. So 6 DTs, I'm glad they kept a lot at that position. Now for the linebackers, Zach Bond, Jihad Campbell, Trotter Jr., and Smile Munden. Pretty much what I kind of had at this point for the active roster, and it's pretty self-sufficient there. Now, as regarding linebacker, we did get news, we did get an update, and we're not surprised over this, but Nakobe Dean went on his Instagram and posted a picture of himself saying, "See y'all week 5." I don't know what's going to happen here. He will be on the PUP list. He will be out for a few weeks, but I don't know what's going to happen when Nakobe Dean comes back. And when he comes back, it's going to take him a few weeks to kind of get back to his normal self. He isn't going to hit the field off of rehabbing, and he's going to be the same player he used to be. It's going to take a little bit of time, which I think the Eagles can afford. But if you bring him back week 5, you have to let somebody go off this active roster. So that's something they're going to have to figure out down the road. What do you do if you want to put Nakobe Dean into the linebacker core next to Zach Bond once he's officially fully back after practicing for a few weeks? Maybe they move Campbell around the line to scrimmage and just use him as an edge rusher, just use him to kind of blow up gaps and be disruptive in the backfield since they've been putting him as an edge rusher on second team defense. I mean, they could do that if they want to do that. Kind of knew Nakobe Dean was ahead of schedule at this point because he was, putting a lot of weight on that knee. He was running, he was sprinting, he was doing a lot of stuff during the early days of training camp. So I said to myself, there's no way he's going to be out that long. And I was thinking end of the season before the playoffs, but you're talking week 5. So this is a contract year. There's a lot of things need to be figured out with him. And I guess we'll see what happens, but glad to see Nakobe Dean is waiting in the wings, ready to come back soon. And we'll see what happens there. Now the cornerback spot for the Philadelphia Eagles. And yes, it looks like it will be Quinyon Mitchell. It will be Cooper DeJean, Keely Ringo, Adoree Jackson, Jacorian Bennett, and Mac McWilliams. Now, we know that this has been the biggest issue with this team as regarding the cornerback 2 spot and how Mitchell is going to be shadowing the number 1 receiver everywhere he goes this year. You don't have that luxury of having Slay on one side and keeping Quinyon Mitchell on the other side. We know that Adoree Jackson has been horrible. We know that Keely Ringo is not fit for cornerback 2. And I'm already done with him. I'm already done that he's just not going to be that guy. Stick to special teams. But these guys are kept on this roster because they're just well needed, unfortunately. Ringo and Jackson are desperation signings. Jacorian Bennett is still catching up. I thought he had a solid game in his third preseason game, gave up some back-to-back catches, but realistically, the coverage was pretty tight, pretty close, and you know what? We don't have the rest of your defense out there. These cornerbacks are going to struggle when they have to cover for 5 to 8 seconds downfield. And I get all that. My opinion, and really what I want the most, is Jacorian Bennett to be thrown into that first game against the Dallas Cowboys. Just like Nakobe. Let him learn. Let him figure it out. And sooner or later, he will gel at this defense and probably be a pretty damn good number 2 for us. Ultimately, the thing I do not want to happen, that I really am going to dread, is that if they start Adoree Jackson for 4 to 5 weeks this season, he's playing this badly, they throw Jacorian Bennett into the mix and then gets burnt, and then he loses his confidence. And I really want him to start week 1 to really go through those growing pains. That's what I want. I hope that's the direction they go in, because just don't trust those other two, and Ringo and Jackson. I just can't really trust them right now. Now, going into the safety position, we have Reed Blankenship, Andrew Nakobe, Sidney Brown, and Trishan McCollum. Okay, so this is pretty much what I had as well, almost the same thing. Andre Sam will probably be on practice squad most likely. I want to keep him around. Trishan McCollum, has been the backup realistically, even last year in 2024. Sidney Brown, realistically, this was Sidney Brown's first year under Vic Fangio. Wasn't 23, under a different scheme, different coordinator. That's where he was mostly a starter. But this year was his first year under Fangio, and I don't know if this offseason program has rewarded him too much, if Fangio really likes him that much, as he is a very good special teamer, coverage suspect, sometimes transition to his body is out of whack when he's going down trying to make tackles. I mean, let's see if he's gotten better and will be a backup for this team. And Nakobe, unfortunately, has been hurt twice after having a fantastic second preseason game, 75-yard pick six, and having a fumble recovery. Showing that flash already showed me, put him on the field, give him a lot of reps in that second game, and look what you got out of it. As for Andrew Nakobe, you got to start him week 1. Let him go through his growing pains, let him play, period, and let's see if he can stay healthy. If he can't stay healthy, then we're going to have another problem down the road. But hopefully, with the amount of time you have left since that last day of training camp, Nakobe will be back in full force, be ready for that first game against the Dallas Cowboys. As for special teams for the Philadelphia Eagles, Jake Elliott, obviously there, braided man. The long snapper, I obviously just forgot his name, so he'll probably be on practice squad, and I don't know how they do it with long snappers and how they deal with that, so I'm not even really sure about that. But if we get into special teams, since Anais Smith is gone, we're talking about punt return, we're talking about kick return. And I know Darius Cooper, they're trying to get him on kick return, which he was there, opposite of Avery Williams. Avery Williams has taken a lot of snaps at punt return, a lot of snaps at kick return, and he was released. He was flat out released. The only way Avery Williams was going to make this team was through special teams. And to be honest with you, I didn't see much from Avery Williams. As a specialist from the Falcons signing a one-year deal with the Eagles, he really didn't show me anything. Here's another theory I have on punt return, really since the John Mechie trade. They can afford to put Jahan Dotson on punt returns because of John Mechie being in the building. So I think that's a really big, interesting one. Keep Cooper DeJean off punt return. I do not want to see it. I don't want to look at it. Jahan Dotson, they've had at punt return as well as a depth punt returner, not as a starter in an actual preseason game. We've never seen it, but he's been there during practice. And with John Mechie in the building, maybe it makes the Eagles feel a little bit better to put a better talent at punt returner, but I still don't want to lose Dotson regardless over a dumb hit. Now, another update on special teams, I'm wondering if they're going to go out and make this move, which I just don't know if they're going to do it at this point, is Britton Covey was actually, I think, released or waived by the Rams, and I guess just didn't make the cut over there. But unfortunately with Britton Covey, it's just his size that bothers me. I think he's got great vision. I think we've seen some good things from him, but he got hurt like 3 times in 1 year last year. He just got hit on the sideline before going out of bounds on a punt return. He was out for a long time with a shoulder injury or a collarbone, whatever it was. Like, he's got a small frame. He doesn't have a big lower body. So I don't know if they want to step down that Britton Covey path again. Maybe we'll get some updates during practice the next couple of weeks, the next week and a half until our first game against the Dallas Cowboys, and see where they're putting certain guys, but I guess we'll see what happens. Now, Howie Roseman had his press conference, okay? Now, the main thing here is that this roster is far from done. Whether he has to make changes now, he makes changes in season. If something happens to a specific player, whether it's injury or a player they thought was going to pan out just has not done the right job, they will go out and find an opportunity to make a trade. And Howie Roseman from this press conference said a lot. And he said this: I don't just sit here, no matter what time of the year it is, and feel content with what we are doing. We will continue to look for opportunities. When I leave here, we will go back upstairs. We will continue to look for opportunities tonight, tomorrow, and every day until we stop playing. Then we will take a couple days break, and then we will keep looking for guys. We are not done. We will see what happens over the next 24 hours. We have a lot of picks. We are happy to use those picks, but in the early part of the season in September, we have to see what we have. If we need something, I'll do whatever I can to help this football team and be aggressive. These coaches meet up every single day for meetings, okay, and talk about players. And if they feel like they need something, and I feel like they're going to find out pretty damn quick, they will make the move for somebody. I don't know what Howie Roseman's aggressiveness is going to be. Are they willing to give up a first-round pick for a top-notch talent just to defend the title this year, to get to another Super Bowl and win that third Lombardi? Or are they looking for somebody for a 1-2 year rental that's on the final year of their contract, somebody that's just out there right now? I don't know what they're willing to give up. But aggressive is being aggressive, and Howie Roseman won't make a trade that's going to financially put us in the ground, but he will be smart with it at the same time. Now, other than that, guys, that's pretty much it. So let me know what you guys think about the final 53. What position are you surprised over? Which ones are you worried about? And is Howie Roseman going to find out real fast what he's going to need? And obviously, I think he knows that there's going to be a need soon. I don't think he wants to tell the media that there's a problem at a specific position. It doesn't want to give it out to the world that he's aiming for a specific player or something like that. We need to stay patient. He knows that there's an issue at some position at some point, even right now in this moment. You guys let me know what you think they need. And how do you feel about the roster in general? Like I said before, you guys enjoy the rest of your day. The final 53 for the Eagles is complete, but Howie is never done. I'll see you guys on the next one. Make sure you subscribe to the channel for more Eagles news every single day. And make sure you hit the like button because it helps out tremendously. You guys enjoy it. I'll see you guys on the next one. Shakes, what up, Files? Peace out, guys. Peace.